when you see like the all-woman Supreme Court and you're like, that's insane. And you're like, oh wait, but that's what it looked like forever.
Yeah.
Just all men, right?
Yeah.
And we don't even question it, right?
The trailer obviously conveys this like absurdism and it's funny and you kind of just like see that. And then, so I was surprised at like how poignant and earnest it was.
I think for me, when I first read the script, that was the beauty of the experience. It was just like all the places it went, that I was laughing and crying and then laughing and crying and I don't even know what I'm feeling anymore. And just like the confidence of and the courage to like have a tone that holds all, like I don't even know that there's really like comps. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, people are like, well, what's the tone? I'm like, I don't know how to explain it to you, you know? And to be perfectly honest, I don't even know that I understood it. I think I, like a lot of people on this movie, just put a lot of faith in the fact that Greta knew what she was doing, you know, that the script was amazing, that she heard it and saw it a certain way and that it would be that. Mm-hmm. And we were just vessels for her vision, which was wonderful.
It was funny too, because your very beautiful speech kind of it gave me like Joe March vibes a little bit, you know, just like connecting Greta's sort of like, and so I was wondering if it felt like, I mean, because sometimes you're just acting, right? But on this, for something like this, did it have a level of catharsis to it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when I first read that part, it hits deep. It's just true, and so it's very personal. But I don't know any woman who it's not true for.
Yeah.
And I think on that level, it made it feel like a big responsibility to get it right, you know, and to not, to not ruin it. I was about to say the other word, but to not ruin it.
Well, and it's funny because I know, so you guys had like the sleepovers and stuff. Like it seemed like Greta really wanted to foster this sense of like collective sort of like female empowerment. Like, is that kind of what was
Definitely.
The vibe on set?
I mean, when we started in London, the first thing I went to was like Barbie dance rehearsals for the big dance party to the Dua Lipa song. And I didn't need to be there. I'm not in that scene, but I stayed and I came for days and I learned the whole dance. And whenever someone wasn't there, I'm like, I can do it. Or like Margot was like doing a producer thing. I'm like, I'll be Margot. And I'd like get in there and do the dance. She did not put me in the dance number. Would have made no sense. But I learned it. But I remember that vibe of like, it was so fun and joyful. And I remember Greta coming to watch a rehearsal and the joy on her face. And she's like, this is exactly what I wanted. Like, I wanted to create a world that felt like if all the coolest, funniest, smartest, prettiest girls were also the nicest girls, and you could all just be best friends, which is like, what more could you ask for?
And it's interesting because I think it speaks to the importance of having female directors and I mean, do you notice a difference?
What I know is it's a different experience for me, you know, to that a wardrobe fitting goes from feeling like watched, you know, like being watched or being seen and kind of being talked about and approved of, to like something that feels more of like a collaboration and like, what do you want, you know? And that's not to say that it's, every male director makes you feel weird, but it's to say that there is a difference, you know, especially being a woman, to be seen by a woman. And I would say that probably everybody could say that, like, there was such a unique vibe on this set that was very specific to Greta, and I think a lot of it has to do with her also being a woman who's been on our side of the camera, you know, and having her know what that experience is like.
Yeah, it's funny, for as like deprecating as it was towards men, nobody seems like offended, but, you know, like Ryan's obviously like really leaning into it, you know, so I think that's a testament to kind of the vibe you're speaking of.
I think the thing too that like I felt reading the script was like there was such a generosity of spirit to the characters. Like everyone gets joked on. Everybody, no one really escapes it. And even with the Kens, like they get a journey too. And also it's the whole point of it being inverse and flipped makes it very interesting of like, oh, why is it so ridiculous to see this reverse, right? When you see like the all-woman Supreme Court and you're like, that's insane. And you're like, oh wait, but that's what it looked like forever. Yeah. Just all men, right? Yeah. And we don't even question it, right? Mm-hmm. So I just think that in a way it seems absurd that this is what Greta chose to do with it, and in another way it's like this is exactly what had to be done with it.
Yeah. Like construction, when she's like, oh, I need some feminine energy.
Female energy. Let's go to that construction site. Yeah.
And then just to wrap up, I did so the sleepover. Like, what was the deal? Is it early on in the shooting or after?
I think it was before we started shooting. Yeah, or like very, very early on. But yeah, it was just like a fun sleepover, and there were games, and I am very competitive, and there was a bagpipe and a Braveheart speech.
From Ryan, right?
Ryan sent a man in a kilt with bagpipes to play bagpipes at us for 3 minutes and then to give the Braveheart speech. And I still don't get it. Like, I think it's an inside joke. I'm not in on the joke. It was ridiculous and funny. And it was a great time. But Greta really wanted there to be a sense of, camaraderie, and I never got to go because I have 2 children who prohibit me from doing lots of things. But she used to screen, the movies for the crew and the cast, and like just getting everybody in on the same feeling she was great at that.